Hello, Sajid Ali. Thank you for your acceptance for my invitation for this interview. Today, we are going to talk about your experience. How did you completed your PhD study? And what was your main experience, and what's your main point to share with other students, especially for the PhD students or researchers as a lesson learned? Can you please introduce yourself first?
Yeah. Thank you very much for inviting me on your podcast about sharing my experience from school to now it's PhD. Recently I complete, and for that, thank you very much for giving me opportunity. My name is Sajid Ali. I complete my bachelor in biomedical imaging and radiological science. And after that, I come to Taiwan for my master. So I complete my master also in biomedical imaging and radiological science. Basically, I come in Taiwan 2020 for my master, and 2022 I complete my master here. And after that, I continue my PhD. And my PhD, my department is biomedical science, but my research field is same biomedical imaging and radiological science. So in 2025, I complete my PhD. After that, I get a 3 job offer. One is now I working as a research and development engineer in China Medical University Hospital. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, that's interesting. So, how did you decide to pursue that doctoral degree, and what was the main factor or main influence to decide this way?
Yeah, so I want to start with why I select this field, the radiology field. When I'm in almost 12th grade, my father get an accident. There is a small piece of the iron hit my father leg. Because I live in the mountain area and there's not too many technology or high hospital. So my father get just X-ray, one view, and it operated 2 times in my town, but it's not success. And we need to move my father to the city for this. And after that operation and get, so from there, I know that the main mistake is the imaging, like X-ray image. So from there, I have, okay, I need to go in this field for my area. So I help my pupil in this field. So I choose my bachelor from this because my father has this problem. So I continue as a radiology. So when I continue in the field of radiology, I come to know it's not just X-rays. There's vast field like a CT scan, MRI. So my interest increase more. So after bachelor, I apply for, I see, okay, there's more technology in developed countries like Taiwan. It's very high technology. So when I come to Taiwan, my main aim is to learn advanced technology in this one. But in the hospital, because of the language barrier, we cannot work in hospital. So I need to go for the research. Yeah, so I get a good professor who in the same field of the radiology. So I select this field. Okay, I need to research. So before come to this field, just X-rays, but I learned, okay, there's more advanced. So I select, okay, go to research for. So I continue my research in my master on the coronary arteries of the heart blockage with the help of the computational fluid dynamics. It's the mix of the medical and engineering. So when I almost complete my master and this thesis, I saw like, okay, there's some more advanced we can do in this field because there's not too many work on it. So I continue my PhD also, but I include with the brain aneurysm also with computational fluid dynamics. So therefore, I continue my master and PhD in this field and advanced. And still I working on it. So yeah, that's why I choose this because of my father small accident lead me to a PhD in this field.
So it is good motivation, and for your country or for my country, especially for the developing countries, we still need this so good and specialized, especially for the research area. So competent people in that area to help people or to diagnose the test in the correct way. Yeah.
I just not come in this field alone. After I selecting my bachelor, I motivate other students from my area. So they also take admission in this course, and I'll some almost 6 students I know from my personally, I guide them, and they did this same field, and now they open a big diagnostic center in my area. So we not need to go for the city for more study. My junior students that I motivate them this field, they open the diagnostic center there. Yeah.
You mean in your homeland, in your
Yeah,
hometown?
in my hometown, yeah, my
Wow.
junior who come in this and they open the diagnostic center.
This research, special topic of your research, why did you choose? And if you have additional information, I mean.
Basically, my research field that I work in now, it's not only that one, because my field is medical field. In Pakistan, if you do the medical, it's just medical. You not
Yeah,
need to
I
learn math,
understand. Yeah.
physics, like that. So now my research is mixed with the computer and physics.
Yeah,
So
interdisciplinary, yeah, somehow.
yeah, yeah, because my professor research field is cardiology. So I work in a cardiology hospital back in my Pakistan country as an internee, as a CT angiography. So for me, that is interesting. And when I see my professor research, he doing some engineering, like a fluid dynamics. So that's me, okay, let's try new things.
I
So
see.
therefore, yeah, it's not just my field. I have in my master in physics, totally like from the beginning, I learning the physics and computer for this research.
You did your PhD 3 years, yeah? Within 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
You looks like very hard worker because within 3 years doing PhD is sometimes hard, I can say. So I am sure that that way to PhD degree wasn't so easy. Did you have some challenges? And the most important thing is that how did you overcome that challenge personally?
First thing, challenge as international student in Taiwan because the language, that is one of the biggest challenge. And for my PhD challenge is my research work. Yeah, because my work is hospital medical, but learning the physics. And why I complete in 3 years? Because I continue with my master. The research thing is same from the master. So therefore it's finish early. But in my main mistake that I make in the starting, my professor asked me to make one model. So I think due to the miscommunication or language barrier, I don't understand. And 6 months, I make a model. At the end, professor said, no, this is not what I mean. So then I revise it and I try to read more papers and okay, then I understand. So in my master, 6 month, I think I just waste my time because there's miscommunication or maybe I not understand because it's totally different field. So yeah, there's some challenges come because you need to do new things and you expect it. Okay, you expecting new things because it's a research, but sometimes no, we need to understand, we need to read more papers like that. Physics is difficult for me in the starting, but now I'm okay with it because that's not my main things. Yeah, so these two things I think the main problem that I face in PhD. But with time, with hard work, I think it's solved. There's no big any problem is not just problem. We can solve everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So language barrier is that, are you talking about Taiwanese?
Yeah, because in Taiwan they speak Mandarin.
Mandarin. So
Yeah.
your professor communicate with you in Mandarin, not in English.
He speak in English, but in the starting, because I'm the first international student in his lab,
I see.
so he also little bit miscommunicated in language. Yeah, but
I
his
see.
English is good now. Yeah.
Okay, I understand now. You got scholarship, so you didn't have not much financial issue, as I understood.
Yeah. So I apply. I have a Ministry of MOE scholarship, which is for everyone. Like every country can apply for MOE scholarship. So every month I get the almost 20,000 from 20,000 scholarship. I think which is easy life, easy for spend a life in Taiwan. So master and PhD I get same scholarship for my both. So yeah, there's no problem with that. Yeah.
Okay.
There's many opportunities for if you don't have this scholarship in Taiwan. There's variety of scholarship for international students.
I see.
So I think if you willing to learn about scholarship, I think it's not difficult to study in Taiwan because you can also do the part-time jobs. If you find a professor, he will also funding you. Like in university, my university PhD almost free. When you get admission, 20,000 for 1 year, they will give you. So there's variety of scholarship. So study in Taiwan, I think it's easy for international student.
My next question is that doing research is like most of the time you will sit in front of the computer and not so much sports or opportunity, no, not much time. Maybe, I'm not sure. How did you balance your life and research balance?
I think it's time about how we manage our time. I manage my time very well. I play in my school team as a soccer player. I play in my soccer team. I like traveling. So yeah, so I travel almost everywhere in Taiwan, every city, everywhere that I know, I just go there.
I see.
And I also participate in different activities like video competition or the presentation competition. So it's how you manage the time.
Mm.
Like I work in the as a like a 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in my lab. I work daytime. Next day I take day off. Yeah, PhD life is busy, but if you manage your time, you can easily spend your life in different ways that you like.
So can you say to me that the main difference between doing PhD in your own country and in international universities?
I think comparing to my countries, the main thing is the technology. Like if I want something for my research, I just ask my professor, I need this one. So university or maybe the professor will provide me their things.
Mm.
But in my country, it's different. We cannot get what we want. And in my country also, the research fund is not that high that you can buy a good research products. But in Taiwan, like if you're working with professor, everything is in the lab. They and high technologies in the lab. My professor provide me very high speed computer, but because my research is in computer, so he give me very fast and it's very expensive computer. So they're helping a lot. Professors are very friendly. They help every time what you want, and we get everything what we want to work on the research. I know my friend from Pakistan who come here for PhD. Now one is go to the Italy, and one is Germany, and one is in the US.
I see.
So as international in Taiwan, you have more open door for the international level.
Was there something surprise or unexpected discovery on your study during your PhD study?
When you get the result of your research, I think that is the most surprise.
Yeah.
So of course, because I already published 2 papers, and my 2 paper is under review now, and I have one collaboration paper with one Indonesian student. So of course, it's a surprise because my aim is just one kind of result. But when, like in my field, if you read my second paper, there's mention about the Tesla. So in my one, like we are focusing on one parameter in our research. So when we run our cases and simulation and we doing the post-processing in our research, we find out there is a linkage between other parameters. So the Tesla is the kind of the collection of the parameters, how they're working together in the aneurysm, like a stroke patient, how it's breast and they get a stroke in the patient. So this is one of the new things that we find out. Therefore, my paper is published, is one of the best published journal, like a medical physics. That's one of the popular and like very difficult to publish in that journal. So it's published in that one due to that this parameters link with each other.
Okay, now let's talk about a little bit more detail about your research. Can you explain your research area and your work area?
I'm working on 2 main projects. One is the heart, because heart attack, like a heart problem, is the biggest problem. So the blockage, right? So when we go to the hospital, one, we do the CT scan imaging. That is used for the heart, but there is no surgery on another thing. But for the confirmation of this blockage, they use the catheter in your arm. And they put the catheter and go inside and they use the contrast and take the image. And there is called fluoroscopy imaging. In that fluoroscopy, you need to press the radiation. So this radiation, doctor, patient, nurse, and technologists in that room, everyone get this radiation. And also this procedure is expensive comparing to just CT scan images. So what in my heart project, what we're doing, we just take the CT scan images and we can reconstruct 3D model. With that 3D model, we measure the blood flow in the artery, and we put this flow inside this 3D model. So with this, which is called fluid dynamics. This is physics, and we using software ANSYS. It's use for this fluid modeling. So when we use this artificial blood flow, it will tell us where is the blockage. So with this, you not need to for the characterization, and you not need to too much radiation to other, just one radiation during CT scan just for the patient. So we working on this hard. That is one of my project. Second is when the patient have a, mostly you know about stroke, some patient get stroke and die, right?
Yes, it is very popular, I think.
Yeah, so my second project is on this one, in which we also take the MRI or CT scan images and same process 3D construction of the arteries and use the blood flow. And we trying to predict where is the chance of the rupture.
Mm.
So for there is one is brain surgery for the treatment, or maybe second they put the clip on the aneurysm because they make like a bulb like this and it's rupture. So they use the clip on the neck to close it. So we research to predict where the wall is weak and
Mm.
broken. So in our Tesla framework, we say, okay, this area is chance for the rupture. So when you need to treat early, or you can delay on it. If the wall is not weak, you can delay for the treatment. If it's weak, you need to treat as soon as possible. And
Mm.
also filling the coil inside. So if this touch the weak area, maybe it's rupture. So when you pull in the coil, you can save it. So these two projects. So we take images. With image, we create a 3D construction. We make a 3D model. With the help of physics, like fluid dynamics, we put the artificial blood inside and check which area is blocked, or which area has a weak, or which area is chance of rupture. So we have different parameter, and we say wall shear stress, velocity, pressure, oscillatory shear index, or resident or relative time. So there are different physical terms. So
Mm.
these parameters we measure in this patient.
Even though you did that 3D model and artificial fluid, blood fluid, but did you use the real case sample image using that? And did you develop, construct a 3D model? How in Taiwan, especially in the hospital, how do you manage the people's data, especially the health information? The Taiwanese regulation or data usage, database usage, and other information. How did you manage that?
How I get the data of the
Yeah.
CT scan and MRI? Because our university is a medical university, China Medical University. So we have hospital, China Medical University Hospital. So for our beginning of research, we 5 students in the lab. So we take our normal MRI images for
I
research
see.
work. Yeah,
Our
so
limit.
we not need to take permission from anyone because it's our own data. So for other patient cases, because our professor, he will provide this one because we collaborate with the hospital. Yeah, there's some restriction. We cannot openly public, like there's many, you need to sign for not sharing data or these things. Yeah, but it's not difficult to get data. Your professor will provide you. If your research and your research proposal is good enough for this kind of field of research, then your professor will help with the link with the hospital, and hospital will happily help in this thing. Because I think in Taiwan, it's very good for research. They are very helpful. You can easily get data. Yeah.
That's interesting because in Germany it's very different. So that's why I'm asking. The next question is, what advice will you give for PhD students and researchers, especially maybe in your area, I think?
Yeah, I will give the general advice for all who want to do PhD. First of all, you find the problem. What is the problem that you want to solve? If you have problem, you going to solve it. But you know, in these days, like mostly student, what they do, they just want to go PhD degree, and they do what the professor asked to do. So in this
Yeah.
one, you need like more research. You need to read many papers because you didn't know your goal. If you see the problem, like I give my example of my father, is one problem, right? I try to solve this one. If you have a problem, then you go for that. So when you find your problem, okay, for example, you have a lung cancer research, that's the problem. Okay, in time, for example, you from Mongolia, so you say, okay, breast cancer is very high in Mongolia. So I want to solve this one. So when you have a problem, now next target, you need to find a good professor. every professor is not good, because I see in my life here some professor giving very tough time for students. Even on the weekends, they need to go. And their reputation is not good, but they're going to give you good money. But you need to more find a good professor who give you time for your research, who has same research interest. So find a good professor that is linked with your research, that you, for example, lung cancer, you find a professor and try to approach that professor. Yeah, so one is find the problem. Second is find a good professor for PhD. If your professor is good, he will help you. He not give you a tough time, and you can easily complete your PhD. But if you don't find a good professor, it's going to be tough for PhD
Yes,
doctorate students. Yeah.
I fully agree with you. Yeah. It's still the doing PhDs, in the other side, the communication between student and professor. Yeah.
Yeah,
How it will be successful depends on that thing very, very much. Yeah.
very
Okay.
much. That's true. Yeah.
So you mean that find the problem in the future, in the beginning, you find problem, and of course you will be more specialized on this topic. And at the end, you will find the topic. Yeah, the topic from the beginning don't need to define because the topic is something like always changing, and very flexible.
Yeah,
Yeah?
your problem is your topic. So find the
Mm.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the society, what is the problem? That is your topic.
You
Solve
should
it
be
on.
interested
Yeah.
on this topic, on this problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't interest it, it's just tension. You
Yes.
cannot work in that fear.
Yes. Yes.
Steady is just for ourselves, single person, but socialized is very important. When you go to the international for study, don't just focus on your lab. No, you need to find international friends, like go outside. It's very helpful for your research and spend your life in these countries. Like I am a very socialized person. I make friend a lot. So even before complete my PhD, I have 3 offers of the job because of socializing. So just come out of your comfort zone from your lab. When you come international study, go out and make your socialized person. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for your this advice and other sharing your experience. It's my first time to meet Pakistani researcher. So I want to say to you that the big success for your life and also for your career and for your study research area.
I have many friends from Mongolia, so thank you also,
Mm.
and thank you every Mongolian who watching this video. Welcome
Yes,
to Taiwan.
thank
Yeah.
you.